Welcome to the Haunted History of Rhode Island. This list of 10 is part of a playlist of gentle listening, spooky collections from across the USA. The screen fades to black so you can enjoy the stories without distractions if relaxing or studying. Please do consider a like and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. At number 1 is Chestnut Hill Cemetery in Exeter. The cemetery, which opened in 1838, is known for containing a vampire, Mercy Lena Brown. Mercy, her mother, and 2 of her siblings all died of what was called consumption around 1890. That condition is now known to have been tuberculosis. Their deaths happened during a time when there was a great deal of hysteria surrounding vampires in New England, and rumours grew that one of the Browns was an undead. The hysteria grew and led to all 4 women's bodies being exhumed. Importantly, Mercy had died in winter and the ground was frozen solid, so her body had been stored in an outbuilding. The other 3 were decaying as they should, but Mercy's corpse looked like it was perfectly preserved. Her hair had grown longer while she was dead, which cemented many thoughts. They had no understanding of the way a corpse wouldn't rot in freezing temperatures, so presumed her to be a vampire. So they decided to cut out her heart and burned it, to stop her from ever rising out of her grave. Since then, Mercy's ghost has been seen around the tomb wearing a dirty ripped gown. On one occasion, a visitor to the cemetery recorded Mercy's voice in an EVP, saying, "Please let me rest in peace." At number 2 is a huge mansion in Newport, Belcourt Castle. It's got 60 rooms and was completed in 1894. According to ghostsofbelcourtcastle.com, there's hardly a room in the place that doesn't have a ghost story attached to it. They include a mysterious monk, the pink lady in the madam's bedroom, a suit of armour that screams, ghostly dancers in the ballroom, and a disembodied arm that pointed at a painting. That painting mysteriously fell from the wall only a few minutes later. One of the most common reports of paranormal activity coming out of Belcourt Castle is about 2 haunted chairs. Apparently, if you attempt to sit in either of those chairs, then something will forcibly eject you from it. At number 3 is another massive mansion, and again in Newport, Seaview Terrace. It's a massive privately owned mansion built in the French chateau style of the 16th century. The 29-bedroomed house is apparently worth $30 million as of July 2025. You might recognise the outside, since it was used for exterior shots in the gothic horror television show Dark Shadows. The building has an interesting history in that it was originally built in Washington, D.C., but then was moved in 1907, brick by brick, to Rhode Island by liquor millionaire Edson Bradley. It was completely disassembled and took 2 years to complete the move. Later on, it became an all-girls summer boarding school. It's now said to be one of the most haunted places in Rhode Island, with several ghosts in residence. The most prominent spirit said to haunt the property is the original owner's wife, Mrs. Bradley. She loved her home and had no desire to leave it. She's sometimes seen playing her favourite Esty-branded organ. I nearly said Etsy. Other reports are of strange noises, like phantom footsteps, disembodied voices and banging, also seeing dark shadows and door handles that jiggle on their own. 4th on our list is the Nathanael Greene Homestead in Coventry. It's the former residence of famous Revolutionary War General Nathanael Greene. The building is considered to be another of the most haunted places in Rhode Island, not just because of phantom footsteps, disembodied screams, or the reports of doors that open and close on their own. There are also stories of horses heard galloping towards the home pulling a carriage, of old-fashioned door latches that will jiggle, and there's been the smell of freshly baked bread in the home, even though nobody cooks in the house. According to warwickonline.com, Greene himself is not one of the ghosts at the homestead. Halfway through this list at number 5 is Providence City Hall, which during its construction in 1875 took the lives of 12 workers. This ornate 5-storey building was built before electricity was common and was lit by gas lamps. It features a ghost who wanders around as though he owns the place. He's usually seen wearing an Abe Lincoln style of hat. He'll be accompanied by cigar smoke that comes out of nowhere, and then there'll be a chill in the air. Other reports are of chairs that move on their own, and papers that get moved or misplaced. The paranormal activity is said to be caused by the ghost of the late Mayor Doyle, who is buried in the building. At number 6 we have the Lads School in Exeter, Rhode Island. The Lads School was founded back in 1907 as a school for the so-called feeble-minded. Over the years, it also housed criminals and other types of undesirable people who society wanted removed from the general population. The school became known for horrible acts and was also severely overcrowded. It was closed down in 1993, and the lad school now features several types of paranormal phenomena. Visitors have heard screams and voices from inside the buildings, also crying from the main building. Doors will sometimes lock shut, even when there's no lock on that door. One uncommon type of event is of deep growling being heard from patients' rooms, with no animals around. Outside the buildings, shadows have been seen moving across the field and into the woods. Car radios are said to malfunction, and several people have claimed their car horns have sounded without being pressed. Spot number 7 is Tower Hill Road in the quaint town of Cumberland. The road is forested on both sides and is notorious for sightings of ghostly children along the roadside. A little girl has been seen sitting in front of what used to be her house, a little boy has been seen running with his dog, and a ghostly toddler has been seen riding a tricycle. Other reports are of zombies and the local legend of the man-monkey, a Bigfoot-like creature. The road has seen many fatalities, and some sightings could be from those accidents. There are, however, reports like this one. A group of friends were walking along the road when they heard children playing in the woods. They looked but saw no children, and in fact saw none on their way back to their car either. When they got back, there were lots of small handprints on it. And number 8 is the Graduate Providence Hotel in Providence. Formerly known as the Biltmore Hotel, the Graduate was named America's most haunted hotel back in the year 2000 and inspired Robert Bloch's Bates Motel. It also played a role in Stephen King's creation of the Overlook Hotel in his book The Shining. When you look into the hotel's history, it's easy to see why. When the Graduate Providence was first built, it was backed by a prominent Satanist named Johann Weishaupt. He appears to have brought satanic rituals to the property, some involving sacrifices. The hotel also became a hotspot during the Prohibition era, with several high-profile murders taking place, such as police officers and the city mayor. Paranormal activity is understandably high, with guests often hearing the sounds of those rowdy Prohibition parties coming from empty rooms, long after the hotel's bars have closed. One of the strangest reports started in 2008, when new owners boarded up the basement ritual rooms to clean the place up, and that is that from time to time, guests will vanish during the night. For number 9 we have Cumberland Public Library, also known as the Edward J. Hayden Library. In 1902 the property used to be a monastery, and it's now haunted by, surprise surprise, a phantom monk. On March 21st, 1950, there was a massive fire which gutted one of the main buildings, but fortunately all 140 monks living there at the time escaped it. It was then repaired and became the library. One common report of paranormal activity is that books have a habit of mysteriously moving from one place to another. Pages will also turn by themselves, and mysterious voices are often heard. The monk spirit is believed to be one of the original Trappist followers, who rearranges books overnight. Finally, Fort Wetherill in Jamestown, which has a very strange haunting. It's said that the spirit of a dog has been at the fort since the Revolutionary War era. The British took control of the fort in 1776 and were terrorised by a black dog that prowled around the entire fort. HauntedRooms.com state that in British folklore, a black dog is said to be an omen of death, which is correct because I spent my first 37 years there. The troops were understandably unsettled by the dog's appearance. He's still sometimes spotted at Fort Wetherill, glaring at people before disappearing through a wall. He can also be heard growling, barking and howling on occasion. Thank you for joining us on this little journey. From a ghostly road to a ghostly city hall, Rhode Island is some very large tales from such a small state. I hope you'll be here for the next one. South Carolina.